Welcome back to Update On. Now, I know we're taping this in the middle of the summer of 2014. And for those of you who have not been paying attention, there was a recall on fruit last night.
Exactly.
On the 21st of July. Stone fruit.
And
which
also pizza and tangerine too.
Mm-hmm. So what this show, which we had planned over a month ago, is on contamination. We are so current, Azar.
Yes, you are.
How did we do that?
First, I have to say thank you for everyone. Welcome to our program, as always. I don't know. We just, did it.
We just did it.
But maybe our sixth sense.
Well, unfortunately, every summer we seem to find out about some kind of produce being
Recalled.
Mucked up. Spinach one year, all kinds of things that should be fine. It's part of our mass ag system, that so much stuff gets packaged in one place and sent across the country. So instead of it being in one little neighborhood.
Exactly. That is the problem for spinach, lettuce, these type of things that they get recalled, is improper cleaning. It's improper cleaning. Sometimes you see on the package, it says triple washed, but it doesn't mean anything. You still need to wash those vegetables or fruits or anything. It says, spinach. It says, I buy a spinach and I buy salads. It says triple washed, but it doesn't mean anything. The reason for that is they don't wash them every package.
They don't wash it individually.
Individually. What they do, they put them in the huge warehouses, and then they run the shower type of water on top of them. And maybe 3 times, 4 times, 10 times maybe. It doesn't make any difference.
But if you're on the bottom.
Exactly. And then they don't come and pick from the top and wash the bottom again. But what they do, they just put the bulldozer in there or something like that and pick up from the bottom and put them in there. It doesn't make any difference.
They package it.
Exactly. And then most of the time they don't do it. It's not done by human. It's done by machine. So machine cannot separate these things. So contaminant gets into the food again. It recontaminates what they cleaned. Plus, not only you have to wash them, you need to disinfect them too.
Now, I know that they sell things in the store to wash your fruits and vegetables, but being Azar, you have your own thing you make yourself, and it's so inexpensive.
Exactly. When you go to the shop to buy them, first of all, small bottles, they sell them very expensive, and different places they have different prices, and they ask you to spray. Spray doesn't do much because it doesn't go to every piece of the vegetables or
it makes you feel like you did something.
You did something, but you didn't. And plus, it has a lot of preservatives and stuff in there that you don't need it in food.
Including fragrance.
Including fragrance. What I do, I use white vinegar, distilled white vinegar. And I first I eat a lot of raw herbs with my food, like parsley, like basil, mint. What I do, I bring them home, I wash them a few times until I make sure all the sands and soils are out of it. And then I soak them in vinegar and water for 10 minutes. And then I soak them again, I wash them back again a couple of times, so make sure the vinegar is out. Even if the vinegar is with food, vinegar is not something bad. You always eat them with your salad dressing. So it's something healthy too to eat. But I wash them out because I don't want, if it stays on my lettuce or on my basil or something, it makes them go bad quicker because it cleaned everything from them. So this is the way I disinfect the stuff. Even fruit, I do the same. Potatoes, I do the same. Melons, I do the same thing, the same way.
People don't understand that they should be washing a melon before they cut into it.
Exactly. You know, the reason for that is the melon grows on the ground, and the ground is where animals walk in there, and a lot of dirt and feces gets on top of these melons. And the melons, even if you wash them, you don't wash the pathogens out of them. So you need to clean them before you cut them. Since this is a melon, you put the knife on it, you already contaminated your knife, and you put it inside the melon, and melon is wet, and some of these pathogens, they grow rapidly. Before you're done with the melon, they order millions of them in your food. And some pathogens, the lifespan from the time they are born, they are mature, they're multiplied and die, it may take few minutes.
More than I really wanted to know, Azar.
Now you know. The reason I'm saying these things so you would be aware to clean everything you eat. Potatoes, people don't wash potatoes.
Well, I have another one for you. Eggs.
Eggs.
You're supposed to wash eggs. Now, the Egg Council lady, the two ladies from the state of Virginia, very lovely ladies, Seal and Mary, have educated me on how you take care of eggs. And eggs are a superfood. They're 2 eggs are all the protein a man needs to eat in a day. Now, the world keeps telling us eggs aren't good for you, only in the United States. So, you know, it's a quick dinner. It's a quick.
You can, the food I made today, it's eggs in it.
Azar brought, I wish this was television you could eat.
Or you can make food.
That was many vegetables with some eggs on top of it. Lovely casserole, some lovely herbs
Yeah.
and spices, and it was yummy and it was good for you. I don't know if I could get it past my husband. I would have to not tell him it was good for him. But you can eat very economically and you can eat very well. A great deal of the world are vegetarians, and they are not in a bad place health-wise. You just have to be very careful. Let's get back to food. And now that I've been talking about vegetables and fruit, let's move to meat. Now, people out there don't realize that I was raised not only an Orthodox Jew, but my grandfather was a rabbi and a butcher. He wouldn't take money for his religious services, and rabbis have to be present when they slaughter animals.
Yes. In many religions are like that. In Muslim countries, they're the same way, and they have a different way of slaughtering food, animals. And since these animals live in a farm again, and when they are slaughtered, and they are cut open, a lot of stomach content and feces gets into the meat. So we have to be very careful how to handle them when we are taking them home. And what you have to do, you have to separate your cutting boards from meat, even different type of meats, like poultry or fish or red meat, separate from your vegetables. Never ever use the same one.
And they actually sell color-coded.
Yes, they do these days.
And color-coded matching little knives.
Yes, they do these days. So this way they encourage people to use different cutting boards for different type of meat. So when you have to handle the meat, the way you have to handle the meat is very, very important. No matter how clean your cutting board is, wash it before you put the meat on it. Make sure to wash it with the soap and hot water. And then when you put the meat on that, wash your hand before you touch the meat. And don't touch anything else.
And you'd be surprised what you touch.
Exactly.
Being an old home ec teacher who has taught around here with another equally old home ec teacher, we won't give names, we have been giving classes where she will look at a child and say, you touched your hair, you got to wash your hands again. You can't touch anything. Once you wash your hands, you're cross-contaminating. Very, very strict about it because you want to get into people's heads that the most important thing to do for health in general is washing hands. Any hospital you go in now will have something about, have you asked your care provider if they've washed their hands before they touch you? It's not just the rubber gloves anymore.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. Number one agent that it transfers pathogen to food is unwashed hands. If you go to any bathroom in the restaurants, there is a big sign, wash your hand before you walk out. And there is a reason for that, because your hand touches everything. When you go to the bathroom, I have seen many, many, many times, I want to pull my hairs when I see these people. They walk out of the bathroom, out without washing their hand. Some, they open the they turn on the water and they wash only just 4 fingers. They run it through the water and they think it is clean. The way you wash your hand, you have to put size of the pea, you put the soap in the palm of your hand, bring it to ladder, wash between your fingers every time you have to do. Make sure you wash all over your hands for 30 seconds. You had it something, it was funny to do it.
Well,
that way you
sing
don't
happy
feel it
birthday to yourself
Yeah.
silently, hopefully.
Yeah.
One round of it will do it.
30 seconds is enough, and then you make sure you run it under the water, all the soaps are gone, and do not open the door of the bathroom without using any paper towels or paper tissues, because you don't know who has touched that before you did.
Well, it's interesting. There's all kinds of ways that you spread things that you don't know it.
You don't realize it.
People, my husband will look at me and say, but people have done this for generations. And I say, and you're damn lucky to be here, dear.
That's
Excuse
true.
my English. But in the Salem witch trial days, a lot of midwives were accused of being witches because they didn't get sick when other people got sick. Orthodox Jews didn't get sick because cleanliness is a very big deal.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yes. I remember Zadie, my grandfather, koshering meat. You're not allowed to have blood in meat. So you soak it in salt and you do multiple changes. That's why you will never get a kosher Jewish piece of steak. There is no blood in it.
Right.
Makes great hamburger, though. But it's just a way of getting yourself used to doing something like your exercise routine. It becomes automatic and you don't think about it anymore.
But you have to be aware. If you're not aware, you don't do it. You have to be aware and present at every moment in order to be doing it. When you do it for so many times, then it becomes your second nature. You don't even think about it.
It's like cracking eggs.
Exactly.
There was a lovely young lady who did not get first place at the Virginia State Fair one year, and her mother was very upset because she didn't crack her egg into a custard cup. She cracked it and put it directly into her mix. It was something that they were watching you cook. And the mother said, look, with today's eggs, you don't have to worry about it. But the idea is you never know when you're going to hit a bad egg.
Right.
In many different settings. Sorry about that. So you crack it, and what an Orthodox Jew is looking for is blood, because you can't put blood in any food. And an egg that has a speck of blood in it goes in the trash.
That's true. It's many religions are like that too, and that the reason for that blood is because that is
a fertilized egg.
Exactly, that's a fertilized egg, and they don't eat fertilized egg. Beside cutting board, utensils too. If you are cooking vegetables and at the same time you're cooking meat, do not cross-contaminate the utensils. Use different utensils for each food. That is very important too, because meat takes longer to cook. and those bacteria to die. So if you introduce that utensil to the vegetable, you introduce the contaminants to the vegetable. So that is cross-contamination. Sometimes people cook everything, they do everything right, but at the time that they want to serve, they forget about it. And they recontaminate food that they already cleaned before.
A lot of it happens, now they're telling people not to wash chicken. It was a big thing that you had to wash chicken because the drippings often get all over the counter, and they take a sponge or a towel and they spread the meat juices all over everything.
Oh, that was this next thing I was going to say. When it happens to you that way, you clean the whole counter and spray it with bleach, and leave it there for 5 minutes. Then clean the bleach. Everything is going to be okay.
In the old,
but you have to wash your meat.
Yes, in the old days, and I'm talking the original Heloise. If you look at any Heloise book, you will find all of her kitchen engineering, and there will be recipes for homemade things to disinfect everything.
Everything.
Because it's important.
You have to. It's very, very important.
Particularly with little kids crawling around and people who have compromised immune systems. I actually got that out. Because individuals forget how sick they can be, yes, and it can be fatal.
It can, because there are some of the pathogens are really, really strong, and the body cannot fight it. And we haven't been introduced to the vaccine of that. So what happens? Our body cannot tolerate it, and they cannot build antibody that fast to get rid of them.
Well, it's even worse than that, because we're given so many very strong antibodies. Mm-hmm. That these germs have built up a resistance.
Antibiotics, especially to our meat, and even our vegetables, they have antibiotics in them. We don't realize it, and when we eat them, our body creates resistance towards that antibiotic. So when we take the antibiotic for our certain type of disease, our body doesn't react to it anymore. And on the other hand, some of the bacteria, they're much smarter than human, believe it or not. Bacteria that it is one cell, it's much smarter than human. They create resistance towards that antibiotic. So when you are contaminated, your body with the bacteria, and you take the antibiotics, it doesn't work anymore.
And people think if they use an antibiotic sponge, they're safe. No. And they figure, it will hold that forever. No, it doesn't.
No. Oh, you talk about a sponge that you wash your dishes with. You have to change them often. If you don't, put them in the dishwasher every time you wash your dishes, or put them in the microwave for a minute. And that would kill the bacteria.
Some people don't like doing that. Now, in the Heloise days, you washed your dish rag. They didn't use sponges. They were very expensive. Right after World War II, Korean War, so you soaked them in
bleach or
something. It was a bleach water mix, and then you hung it over the faucet to dry. You spread it out to get the air to get to it.
Yeah, there are different ways
of
staying healthy, because some of these contaminants, you don't even see them. Most of them, you don't see them. Some of them you see if it is like hair in your food, or if it is nail in your food or something like that, you would see them. But 90% of them, you don't even see them.
About 5 years ago, a senior scientist was doing a presentation at NIH, and one of my friends was there. And his question was, what is the most dangerous food that can make you sick, that he was afraid of for somebody, some foreign whatever, to make Americans sick? And it turned out to be parsley. Because as he said, most people never think of washing their parsley. They buy it at the store. They may do a little spritz of something on it and put it in the refrigerator to crisp, but they never really wash it. And within a few months after that, I noticed in a batch of the Jewish magazines, they were telling you to take your parsley and shake it through salt water. And their bit was to make sure you didn't eat any bugs that could have attached to it. I had, at that point, I was like 65 or more, and I had never heard that bit of wisdom before, but it makes perfectly good sense.
It does. Oh, people call them old wife tales or something. They all make sense. You have to listen to them. These days, everything become mechanical. People don't have time anymore, and they want everything already made and ready for them. And you don't know how they package these things for you. They look nice, they look pretty, they look clean, but I don't trust them. I clean everything.
People think they don't have time, so they buy a batch of prepared things and they put them together. I call it the cost of convenience and assembling, not cooking.
But the thing is, the cost of convenience, sometimes like this pizza that they've been called yesterday, that's a cost of convenience. When this is contaminated, then you have to get off from work, you have to be in the hospital, you have to be in the doctors, you have to be miserable for a while. Does it worth it for a few seconds of cleaning things and eat them? It doesn't really worth. The other things you were talking about, gloves. I have a story to tell you about this. I was going cross country. I was traveling from DC to California, driving. And sometimes, you have to go to fast food restaurants. That I am not a fan of it, but this fast food restaurant, they call it is clean, it is organic, and all these things. I went to the restaurant in one of the cities on my way there. I go there. It was a gentleman in front of me. They were making his sandwich. They make the sandwich in front of you, and she had the gloves on, and I said, "Well, that's clean. That's nice." And she finishes with his sandwich. She goes to the register. With the same glove, she handles the money, which is the dirtiest thing in the world, because everybody handles them. It falls on the floor and everything. She comes back to me and says, "May I have your order?" I said, "Yes, not before you change your glove." She said, "Oh, I just put it on for that gentleman." I said, "Yes, you put it on for that gentleman and you touched the money." He said, "No, it's clean." I said, "I am not going to get a food from you until you change your glove." And she was very upset. She didn't want to change it.
Well, people don't understand. Would you believe we're
going,
winding down? We only have 3 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
I am so subtle.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this. I turned back to her. I said, "Do you wear glove to protect my food, or you wear glove to protect your hands?" This comes down to, it doesn't matter it's a restaurant or fast food restaurants or anything. Even at home is the same thing. A lot of people, they feel they wear gloves, everything would be fine. It is not. You need to wash that glove too.
Well, you need to wash the gloves, you need to wash your hands, and many people turn out to be allergic to what the gloves are made out of.
That is part of it too sometimes, it all depends.
So people don't, there is no, the world is not black and white. It is so many shades of gray. And that's what
50 shades sometimes, some people say.
No, well, I'm sorry, we're not going there. Azar loves to bait me. She knows I probably have a comeback for that, but I'm not going there. We have 2 minutes.
Okay.
So what we want to tell people is to wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Make sure all your utensils and cutting boards are clean. When you are defrosting, oh my God, when you're defrosting food, never ever do it on top of the counter. Put it in the refrigerator the night before and put it in the bowl and make sure that bowl can hold all the juice from what you are defrosting. so it doesn't drip to the food below and contaminate them at the same time. Make sure everything is, it's in a bowl that you can contain it. The way I do meat, I put a little bit salt on it so it would defrost it quicker, and put a little bit of water in the bottom so that water doesn't dehydrate the food. So when you defrost it in a bag or something, that water doesn't get in there, but it makes it easier. Do that one, clean your hand, wash your hand, refrigerate food properly when you take it home.
And if it sits out for more than 2 hours, throw it.
Throw it out. Do not eat it. Do not take a chance. Do not take a chance, especially meat and potatoes. Potatoes are prone to get all the, like potato salad, people make them and take them to picnics and they leave them there. But if you want to leave them for longer than 2 hours.
Wrap up.
Okay, if you have to leave them more than 2 hours, put them on the ice.
Yes, and there are lots of good things, and
yes,
we will go there
we may touch this program again another time.
Wish you hydration, and we wish for peace for every nation everywhere. See you next time.
To good health.